Hi, this is Mark again, and we're going to be continuing our Wing Chun Principles videos with our second Sulim Tao video. So this is Sulim Tao Principles, part 2. We'll start with the first one, which is slightly more complicated and sort of Chinese medicine and training philosophy related. And it's a three-parter, like all the best ones are. So it's internally develop the qi, externally train the tendons, bones, and muscles. So the first thing to note is that this is classic Wing Chun, which is a mixture of some internal martial arts elements, so some neijia, and quite a lot of external martial arts elements. So we've got the external component where we've got the three parts in harmony together. We've got tendons. So we're going to be doing lots of extensions of the fingers, so you're constantly stretching out, and you see that in the Sulim Tao. You've got bones, so you're going to be doing weight-bearing exercise for long periods of time, like sitting in a stance, so put a bit of compression onto the bones, and the muscles as well. So, and all three of those things are sort of the external training bits that you need to do, and it's very important, very emphasised. So anyone that goes and tells you that they're doing internal martial arts, and you, in pretty much any form, you don't need to train your muscles, they are not talking sense, right? So, because these things are all together. And then the first part they're saying is internally train the qi. And as I've said before, I will do another extended series of videos probably about my views on how this works. But I think the important thing is that you can quite often replace the word qi with intent quite often. And you can also often replace it with either breathing or structure or various other different words depending on how you feel about it. But it's all of those things put together, and it's the feeling of sort of centeredness and well-being from which Chinese martial artists believe they've got a strong reserve of that. So you have good body structure, you breathe well, you don't have any physical alignment problems. Then you can use that to generate power. So that's the key principle there. So internally develop qi, get your structure, your breathing, your intention all correct, and then externally train those bones, tendons, and muscles. Right. Next one is more of a specific practical one. So tan sao, bong sao, fuk sao, wu sao, hun sao, hun sao. Right. So you've got tan sao, palm up. Bong sao, fuk sao, hook hand, wu sao, guard hand, hun sao, like circling hand, rolling hand. Their wonders grow with practice. So it's basically here are the key gates, here are the key hand structures in the Sulim Tao. Tan sao, beggar's hand, bong sao, wing arm, fuk sao, hook hand, wu sao, guard hand, hun sao, circling or rolling hand. Practice them a lot, and they will get more and more interesting and develop more and more applications and uses with time. So give them the time, practice hard. Okay, good. Each movement must be clear and crisp. Timing must be observed. Again, this is a kind of nice, simple one. You've got to define your movement. So this is especially important, I find, in the third section, because the first section is slow, the emphasis is on floating power. The second section is fa jing, and there's the emphasis on throwing power, fa jing, throwing force. The third section uses a combination of both. So so one of my teachers described it as ghost-like, so you move between soft floating and throwing power. But it's really important in that third section that each movement is clearly and crisply defined, and that is important. And then timing must be observed. So in order to have a flow between soft and hard and move between the movements, there is a timing, there is a rhythm to how they fit together, and observe it, learn it, reflect on it, practice it, and make it part of your practice. And the last one is my favourite one that I like telling people a lot and quite often post up on Facebook feed for the university students. Practice once a day. More will cause no harm. So make sure you practice, make sure you train, do your Sulim Tao every day. I once had, this was related to Tai Chi, but it's the Sulim Tao is basically your fundamental training. It's your core Qigong training. It's the only one that there is in Wing Chun, really. It's formally part of the system. It's your stance training as well, and it's also all your basics put together. So it's a really, Wing Chun is a very efficient system. So they didn't mess around. They didn't have 400 forms like in some types of, Northern Shaolin, right? Maybe 400 is a bit much, but they've got loads, right? So they only have a small number, 3 empty hand forms, wooden man form, couple of weapon forms. That's it. There's nothing else, right? So you've got to do your core practice. So my Tai Chi teacher I was asking him about standing meditation, and because that's the core practice for Tai Chi, and he was like, yeah, it's really, really important practice. You've got to do it every day. It's the core practice really for your first 10 years of training. And I would pretty much say the same thing about the Sulam Tao. Practice once a day. Like, if you want to get good at this stuff, do it every day. All right, cheers. Okay, see you next time, guys, and practice that Sulam Tao. Hi, this is Mark. I'm just going to be doing a few short informal videos where I'm going to talk about some of the principles of Wing Chun or Yong Chuan. Basically, they're going to be short, under 5 minutes long, and they're just going to pick a key principle or saying or phrase and just break it down. So give you the overall details and an idea about how to apply it into your training.